We all know that we shouldn't skip leg day. It can lead to muscle imbalances, it reduces the amount of calories we burn at rest, it can even reduce your musculature. Plus it doesn't look great if you've got a massive upper body and tiny little chicken legs. And your legs are actually far more important than your upper body for the majority of athletic performance, whether it's running, whether it's jumping, or even providing a stable base to push off of when you are exerting force through your pecs and shoulders. But whilst we all know that we shouldn't skip leg day, skipping leg day is nevertheless so common that it's become practically a meme. So why is this? Well, there's a few reasons, and one of the first ones must be that training legs from home is really rather difficult. Perception is that you need a lot of weight to train your legs, which means you're going to need a barbell packed with weight and you're going to need a power rack. At the same time, a lot of people find that training their legs is kind of awkward and difficult. They might have knee pain or back pain, so they don't want to load a whole load of weight on their backs, they don't want to bend over too far, and they might just find that they feel a little bit uncomfortable anytime they get down into a squat. But never fear, the Bioneer is here. And I'm here to tell you that there are actually lots of exercises you can do for legs that don't require that much weight, that don't feel really uncomfortable, that most people can perform, and that will build athleticism, speed, stability, balance, and better looking wheels all at the same time. Without further ado, let's get started. It is fresh out here today, so without beating around the bush, let's get onto the first exercise, that being weighted jump squats. So for this, you're going to need a light pair of weights or a single light dumbbell. Ideally, this should be about 30% of your body weight, because according to the research, this is what's going to contribute most to an increased jump height and running speed. Anything heavier than that, and you need to grind through the movement, it slows you down. This adds just the right amount of resistance to increase the load on your body without really slowing things down. So you're going to pick them up. If you've got dumbbells, you're going to hold them by your sides. If you've got a kettlebell, you're going to hold it like a goblet squat right in front of you there by the handle. And then you're just going to squat down and then leap up. And I want you to really focus on driving through your feet really explosively and getting as high as you can, as fast as you can. This is essentially compensatory acceleration, a technique used by some powerlifters. When you don't have a lot of weight, you can use speed instead, because that still requires force. And as far as your body's concerned, force is force. If you're primarily interested in performance and explosiveness, then the advice is to wait at least 3 times as long as it took you to perform the set during recovery, so that you can re-engage all those fast twitch fibers the next time you come to perform the set. But if you're more interested in hypertrophy, perhaps a little bit of metabolic conditioning, then you don't need to worry about that so much. Or you can do what I like to do to get the best of both worlds, which is to create a mechanical drop set where you perform the highly explosive movements at the beginning, then you just drop the weight and you carry on. Of course, what's really important is that you land softly. You don't want to jarringly land hard on your knees. You really need to absorb that impact on your feet and your knees gently on the way back down each time. So practice this without weights if you're not used to it, and then build up to this. If you have any bad knees, etc., or bad back, this probably isn't the exercise for you. I'm doing this on grass for preference, which obviously makes life a little bit easier as well. If you do opt to use a kettlebell in the goblet position as opposed to dumbbells on either side of your body, this also becomes an anti-flexion movement. You're preventing your body from bending forwards, thereby engaging the muscles in the erector spinae and the hips, and this is going to translate to an even higher jump height, because that triple extension, when you jump normally, you're driving your upper body up as well. So we're practicing that at the same time, placing a little bit of resistance there as well, but either will work really nicely. Another really simple movement you can perform if you want to train your legs at home is just squats, air squats, lots and lots of squats. The squat has tons of benefits. I'll probably do a breakdown of the squat in a future video, let me know if that's something you'd like to see. But basically when you're squatting, you're performing a fundamental human movement pattern, and at the same time, because it's closed chain, because it's very safe, you are able to perform high repetitions without fatigue and without risk of injury. Don't worry too much about having a massive range of motion here. The aim is to maintain continuous time under tension. This is something that I've been preaching for a while, and it's not the kind of thing you'll often hear. Building a good range of motion is really important, but this is a separate thing whereby performing high repetitions can actually allow you to improve muscle growth, your strength endurance, because strength endurance in the legs is of course really important. It's going to strengthen your tendons, and it might even increase blood supply to the muscles, allowing you to train for longer and harder and improving your recovery, even building up more satellite cells. This is how we know that a lot of prisoner workouts program their leg training. We know that Mike Tyson built massive powerful legs this way. Just give it a go, and I think you're going to feel that it really does do something, especially if you're combining it with heavier movements and explosive movements and more challenging single leg movements. Then you're getting the best of every world. If high repetition bodyweight bodyweight squats is something that you struggle with, and it's perfectly fine if you do. This can be the result of ankle mobility or knee problems or hip mobility, etc. Then another solution often is to once again use these squat blocks, and whilst I do recommend working up to a natural deep resting squat, these can be useful once again if you just want to bash out lots of volume, if you're focusing more on just pure strength endurance, metabolic conditioning, etc. And that will just make it a lot easier for you to get a whole lot done and to build really strong legs. Speaking of squats, if you're looking for an exercise that's genuinely difficult no matter what your experience level is, then look no further than the pistol squats. This of course is a one-legged squat. Ideally you want to perform it with your heel on the floor and the other leg sticking out in front of you, and you're going to push yourself up off that one leg. Not only does this mean you're taking your entire body weight on one leg, of course, it's also a mobility challenge as you need to not topple backwards, meaning you need great ankle mobility, you need a strong spine to stay upright, and at the same time it's a balance challenge of course because you're stabilizing yourself on that one leg. If this still isn't hard enough, you can of course add a little bit of weight, but you do this for a few repetitions, you're going to feel it almost no matter who you are. And of course if it's too difficult, you can use a rope and hold on to that, or a wall. You can hang one leg off of a ledge or something, or you can even use a friend to help assist you on the way back up, or you can perform as many as you can normally and then get the friend to assist you. Wearing heels or using a squat block such as one of these can help you to reduce the mobility challenge so you can pump out more repetitions if you're just looking for that performance. This isn't something that you should be doing for high repetitions. You're not in a stable position, so it shouldn't be used as conditioning. It should be used more to build the movement pattern, stability on that one leg, and a little bit of strength as well. Again, you can perform this near the start of a workout and follow up with some regular air squats for a real pump. Okay, now the next one is fantastic for improving your movement patterns, for preventing back pain, for making you more athletic. This is all good stuff, yes? I'm talking about the glute bridge, a favourite of the glute guy, Brett Contreras, and shown in many studies to be highly beneficial for athletes. What we're doing here is we're going to be thrusting the hips towards the sky whilst lying on our backs, driving through the heel and trying to engage the glutes, that's the butt, as we do. If you feel this in your quads, then that might mean that you're quad dominant, which means that you're using your quads more often than your glutes for movements like running and jumping, and this is not optimal for your maximum performance. At the same time, might mean that your glutes are weak, inactive, and this can mean that your spine ends up coming under undue pressure. So this is a fantastic way to find out whether your glutes are working the way they're supposed to, and to fix that if they're not. At the same time, we're going to be targeting them and really driving power through them, which can result in more powerful movement when you're standing up as well. So to perform this, you're going to lie on the ground. What you ideally want to do is find the muddiest, coldest, wettest piece of ground you can find. Try and avoid the cat poo, and that's a perfect spot to do your glute bridges. You're going to rest your weight on your shoulders, and you're going to bring your hips up towards the sky by driving through the heels of your foot and engaging the glutes. Now if you do feel this in your quads or in your back and not your glutes, there are a few little changes you can make to try and improve that. The first one is to focus more on driving upwards and driving through the heel. Another is to try clenching the buttocks as you go, and yet another is to get something to brace your legs and to try and drive your legs outwards at the same time as pushing through the ground, which will help to engage the glutes that little bit more. You can do this by using a resistance band, that's what I've seen, but I find that this isn't strong enough, or it's painful if it is, and so I've actually been using a yoga wheel to achieve the same thing. And over time you should find that you naturally engage the glutes more than the quads, and then you're going to engage them more through all kinds of other movements, reducing back pain, making you stronger, faster, all that good stuff. You can also try bringing your heels close to your butt. This is also going to help you to engage the glutes that little bit more. And of course the more difficult variation is either to place a weight here, or to raise one leg off the ground, like so. Just took a break for an hour with my family to have lunch, and look what came in the post in the meantime, an Amazon delivery of one outdoors yoga mat. I don't know why I didn't think of this idea much sooner, but I could have used it about an hour ago. Anyways, from now on, you'll have the more professional sight of me not getting myself covered in mud when I demonstrate exercises outside that involve lying on the ground. Another of my favourite leg exercises at the moment is the Romanian deadlift, or RDL. Here's an exercise that's essentially the top half of a deadlift, so you're not bending at the knees to pick up the weight. Instead, you're just lowering it as far as you can go and then standing straight back up by hinging the hips. What you want to focus on here is pushing the butt outwards as you go to correctly hinge the hips rather than bending the back to bend forwards, which is not what we want here. You can practice this with something called butt touches, which is where you stand by a fence or a wall and literally just move your butt backwards and try touching against that wall like that. You're going to let your legs bend slightly, but the point is not to bend the legs, so it's just what's natural here. And you'll know you're doing it right because when you reach a certain point, you should feel a nice stretch on the hamstrings. And this is the point where you're going to stop and then reverse the movement and stand back up by once again bringing the hips forwards. And then you're going to repeat the movement, keeping the back straight all the while. This is a great stretch for the hamstrings. It's also a great workout for the hamstrings, and it's teaching you an important movement pattern, so it's tons of bang for your buck, and it's another one that can help prevent back pain and improve your athletic performance. Highly recommended. And you don't need that much weight, and you can do it perfectly fine with dumbbells or a kettlebell. If you want to do something to target the calves specifically, and this isn't a bad idea, then something like a calf raise, particularly a deficit calf raise, so you're keeping the heel lower than the ball of the foot to begin with, is a great way to not only strengthen the calves through a wide range of motion, but also to strengthen and develop the Achilles tendon, which is really good news, and you can improve your balance if you focus on trying to do this with one leg and without supporting yourself on a wall. Obviously, if you're focused more on strength and endurance, then do it with both legs and your hands on a wall, add some weight if you like, but if you also want to get a little bit of balance training in there as well, especially for your feet, then you can try doing it on one foot, which is an added bonus. Next up, the split squat made famous by knees over toes guy. This is a great exercise not only because it strengthens the knees because you're allowing your knee to go past the toes, but also because it stretches the hip flexors, which is something that are tight in a lot of us thanks to all that sitting. It's also great for ankle mobility as you're leaning over that front toe. You can lean over the front toe, or you can come up onto your toes to take the knee further, or you can do a little bit of both. This will help you with your jumping height, with your resilience. It can even help you to develop your scissor splits. So you're coming forwards in a kind of diagonal downwards movement. Letting your knees go as far past the toes as you can, and if you want to, you can also go that little bit further to really get that stretch on the hip flexor. So the exercise I just want to finish on real quickly is the Cossack squat. Here you're going to squat down on just one side with your other leg stretched out to the side. So this is a nice hip stretch, but the other reason it's so important is that it's a movement in the frontal plane. In other words, moving side to side instead of forwards and backwards and up and down. We move in all planes of motion all the time, especially in sports, but also just in daily life. So it's really important that we train in all planes of motion as well. So many leg routines simply focus on squats and variations of squats, and they don't look at moving left and right, etc. And this can be a big mistake, essentially. Likewise, you want to work on building single leg strength and explosive strength, just develop every aspect of our leg performance. The great thing is that, as we've seen, you can do all of that from home really nice and easily with relatively light weights, minimal equipment. You can do it in your living room or in a garden that's covered in cat poo. There's really no reason you can't train your legs. And if you have any difficulties with mobility, etc., all these exercises can be adjusted. A squat can be performed with your arms on a chair, for example, or you can even lift yourself up, have a spotter to help you. We can use squat blocks if you lack range of motion, or weightlifting shoes. There's plenty of options and no excuse for skipping leg day. With just these exercises, you can build a full routine, adapt it to your own level, do it from anywhere, and hopefully that's enough to get you started. But there's plenty more I could have included. And again, these are movements that are adaptable, can be done from anywhere. You could do farmer's walks in your garden, just doing laps of the garden holding weights. You can do it on one side if you want to strengthen the quadratus lumborum, if you want to build that oblique strength. Or you can do it on both sides if you just want pure trap strength and you want to focus on hip stability and walking. You can do single leg jump squats if you have the balance and stability. This is very cool because you normally explode off of one leg, not two in most situations. You can do skipping to build more calf strength and ankle stiffness, which translates to faster sprint times. I know that Hindu squats are among my favourites, a slightly gentler way for training the knees. Sissy squats take that a bit further, but I also actually really rate them as long as you ease into them really nice and carefully. Nordic curls, a bit difficult to set up, but absolutely insane for your hamstring development. And of course the kettlebell swing itself, which translates to better jump height, running speed. People talk about the what the hell effect just because it does so much good stuff. I'm going to make a whole video on that in future, which is why I haven't gone into it in depth here. Let me know your favourite leg exercises in the comments down below and how you train your legs from home, and stay tuned for more like this. Hope you found this video useful and interesting, guys. If you did, then please leave a like and share it around. If you like this kind of training that looks not just at your appearance and your physique, but also your performance, the way you move, mobility, strength, endurance, even brain function, then you'll enjoy my ebook and training program, Super Functional Training. And like this workout, all of that is designed to be done from home with minimal equipment. There's even a minimal equipment version of the routine included in the package, so check that out. Let me know your favourite leg exercises in the comments down below and how you train your legs from home. Please subscribe and hit the bell button if you want to be notified of future uploads. That's actually one of the very best things you can do to support the channel, so massively appreciated. But as always, I appreciate you just for watching. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye for now.